The following review was originally written for MetalArchives.com and may make references to the site, its functions, or its percentage-based rating system. I never actually learned how to pronounce the band name properly, so I'm just going to say Inverted Jehovah. And yes, Mist is German for manure. 9 out of 10. Some started to get it when Man in Jin came out in 2000, but it was for 2009's Combatinent Premaster at the latest that everybody started to understand that Inverted Jehovah wouldn't release leftover Profanatica material anymore, and had in fact become something entirely different. Up until those points though, when nobody knew yet that it was the project's new actual musical direction, The Black Mist was really something of a cult classic because absolutely nobody had any idea what to make of it. Like either he was pulling a fast one on everybody, trolling his audience and label, or taking too many of the wrong kinds of drugs. First of all, you gotta love the synthetic drums. They're not programmed because they mess up the time here and there. They're obviously played on the keyboard. And that's one of those things you can only do when you are certain nobody can see you because it looks completely ridiculous. Like you're trying to play chopsticks as fast as you can. The type of thing you'd picture some geeky Korean kid do on YouTube. And isn't that exactly the mental image you want to be going for with your grim anti-human black metal? Total diabolical nihilism brought to you by the kid who covers the Super Mario's theme by tapping on 2 guitars. The music itself is ever so close to outdoing the likes of Gorguts and Necrophagist in sheer technicality, being that it is basically one note humming behind the drums with some sound effect that's like a Casio imitation of wind chimes ringing their soothing nothingness in a loop behind it. And, as anyone with a bit of musical knowledge will already know, the best way to top off a drum cover of Chopsticks with a soothing one-note hum behind it is to scream harsh black metal vocals over it at the top of your lungs. I think you may understand now why I said people were thinking what they were thinking, that either Paul Latney was trolling or had one too many of all things mind-altering. You may at this point think that this review sounds like a negative review, and feel a justified disconnect between the review you hear and the rating stated before it. But that's down to whatever anybody's personal taste is. As for me personally, thinking whatever the fucking fuck in the fucking world is this when listening to a piece of music is not something I consider negative. Yes, it's a puzzle why anyone would record or release such a thing. But there's a beauty in the limitless diversity of music that for any possible thing that can be done and be called music, there's somebody out there who will do it. This of course includes many things that are just grating and unlistenable, but that is one thing the Black Mist is not. It's completely outlandish and bizarre, but it has its very own unique atmosphere to it. Like how someone would interpret black metal if he was so drugged out of his mind that he couldn't tie his shoelaces without the help of trained professionals. And in the end, once it turned out that this would be the musical direction for the coming decades of Inverted Jehovah's career, I could never help but appreciate that there's someone out there doing black metal like nobody else would, instead of just adhering to established standards of how black metal needs to be perceived as good.